Hello, everyone. Welcome to Golden Shower Sunday stream, November 13th. For Christ's sake, it's already November 13th. Joined today by
2022. Today we have the one and only Clint Russell of Liberty Lockdown and Tower Power Hour.
Hey, Tower Power Hour. Give the shout out to the insane people. I appreciate it.
No, that was fun when we had you all on too. I like that.
Those guys are lunatics. They keep me sane, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it's a perfect balance. Liberty Lockdown, I'm like super serious, covering the craziest, most horrifying shit in the world, and then Tower Gang,
I just bullshitting around.
Exactly, I just get to joke about all of it and make me remember that there's still joy in the world.
Right. Shit. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little more, Clint. Just like
sure. Former mortgage broker turned Liberty ranter. May of 2020, just beginning of the lockdowns, I shut down my company and I moved across the country. And I don't know. I've just been embraced by the libertarian sphere, and I'm very grateful for that because now I am pursuing this full time and traveling all over the country to speak at LP events and non-LP events, and just I don't know. Pursuing all the opportunities laid in front of me as aggressively as I possibly can.
And you do deserve it too, because I was like, I mean, I saw you in your Liberty thought, like I've seen you grow, and you totally deserve everything you got in your life now, man.
Thank you. I don't know about that. I mean, there's certainly other podcasters out there that haven't had all of the advantages that I've been offered, but I'm just trying my best. Yeah, it's just life, just like I'm making relationships with the right people and just kind of telling the truth as best I can in the moment. And I think that is earning me enough trust amongst my audience that they're spreading the word for me. And I think that's really the nature of the growth.
Yeah, even with all the people who are like against you back in the day, but they're all just losers online. And it's still that shit. But
oh yeah, no, I still have a lot of haters, but I have them all blocked, so I don't really see it anymore, which is nice. Everyone else is probably like, man, this Clint guy has a lot of haters, and I'm like blissfully unaware. I have no idea.
Same with me. Apparently there's like always chats about me and shit, and I never knew any of it was going on. So like, all right.
Yeah. It's bizarre to me because I don't feel like you've ever wronged anybody, and I don't feel like I've ever wronged anybody either. So it's just haters. Really out of the blue.
Some people are just toxic by nature, it seems. It's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's for sure true. But it is disappointing. I mean, I've gotten I've gotten accustomed to it at this point because I've been doing this for a couple of years, and I've been dealing with hatred for about year and a half now, and I never expected it. I was like, oh, I'm such a good libertarian. Like everyone's gonna love me. They'll never have a reason to hate me. Nope. There's a lot of people that really don't like me.
And I get so mad about the infighting and stuff because I'm like, hello, we have bigger shit to fucking fry right now. After the last 2 years, how can you guys fight about this dumb shit online about people you don't even know when we have this to fight about,
Well, that's exactly why I just block and move on, because I can't even imagine spending a minute interacting with the haters. Like it's like okay, you're clearly not on the same page as me, focusing on like what really matters right now, and I am genuinely dedicating my life towards fighting what matters. So if that's not you, maybe I'm not for you, and you're certainly not for me.
Yeah, and they'll be rude, and then they're like, "Oh, he blocked me." And it's like, well, or like people will say that I blocked him for like something else. I'm like, no, it's because you were rude. I don't care about your life.
Yeah, it's like, it's because you're a cunt.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. So you're in Miami still. You think you're staying there for a while?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much longer, but I'm here for probably at least another 6 months, and then, like I said, I'm going to be traveling all over the country doing similar things to what I did this past year, and I'm going to try and extend my stays everywhere I go so that I can spend like at least one extra day, kind of traveling around, seeing if anything appeals to me. I mean, I very much like Florida. I just don't know if Miami's right for me. I feel like I'm too old for it, to be honest.
It is like a party city, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. And I'm not in that, part of my life anymore, and I don't really want to party all the time. And it's like, okay, then what am I doing here? But it's obviously beautiful. The weather's great, and the women are hot, so no complaints.
Yeah. And it's a little bit freer there than some places, but you know, I suppose. Although Justin Amash thinks my governor's a libertarian, so like good word.
Yeah.
Everyone gotten,
Polis, is that?
yeah. Everyone got mad yesterday because Amash has said a couple things over the years about Polis because they're friends, right? And so he's even said he's libertarian. Oh yeah, Reason came out with this article the other day about Polis being a libertarian. I'm like, did you guys even Google? You could Google something for 2 seconds and find out he's not a fucking libertarian, but that's Reason and shit. But Colorado LP posted something yesterday and everyone lost their fucking mind. They're like, it's just so stupid. And obviously I can't join in and post, but I'm like watching, you know.
And these are the same people who went after Dave Smith for backing the McMaster's guy.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're like, oh, it was so stupid because I'm like, hello, Amash is literally congratulating an actual tyrant who's almost a communist, who's grew government, who took away our freedoms, and we're not allowed to call him out. But then they like, just because of between Dave and Masters, who none of them have any political, you know, they're not in control of anything right now. So they're like all pissed about that, but they're like mad we called Amash out. It's just like, what is wrong? I don't get it. People have like forgotten. It's crazy.
Well, I actually like Amash, but I think that he is dead wrong on a lot of things. And I had like an hour-long conversation with him about, you know, the purpose of the LP and the purpose of politics in general. And, you know, he and I just see things very differently. But I don't think he's a bad actor. A lot of people think he's like, you know, controlled opposition or whatever. I just think he has a different worldview, but I think it's sincere, but I also think he's sincerely wrong. Like particularly when it comes to DeSantis, he was saying, you know, the election results are evidence that, you know, people don't want this populist fringe thing that the GOP was pushing. And I'm like, I think really the lesson that we should be taking is of all the candidates across the country that really fucking cleaned up, DeSantis was at the top of that list. Everybody else was just like denying the election, and that was basically it. They were getting endorsed by Trump. So that isn't what people want. People do want someone who's putting their foot in the door to stop the culture war stuff, or to fight the culture war, if you will. So I just think he's flat wrong on that. And I don't, you know, maybe he'll come on my show sometime so we can hash it out, but I don't think he's right.
Yeah, I was laughing because I was like, if Amash had congratulated DeSantis, all those libertarians would have lost their fucking mind about it, you know. True. But it's okay for him. And then the people are saying, it's just, sorry, I won't get into it. I was just so pissed off yesterday about it, and then like I couldn't do anything to join in. So
well, like, see, I don't expect Amash to. I'm not expecting him to like DeSantis or uplift him, but I do think it's weird that he would uplift Polis and think that DeSantis is like a footnote, like you shouldn't even mention him. It's just bizarre political analysis that I think is totally detached from reality, based off of like actually living in Florida and actually talking to people. It's like, man, you got this all wrong.
Yeah, I really do feel a lot of people are just so perpetually online, and they really, like, even libertarians have forgotten, like everybody else, about the COVID shit, about the last 2 years, and like they're just trying to move on. They don't get it. And then we just had the election, so everyone's just talking about that stuff because everybody knows everything about that, you know. And like I don't get how we're like the amnesty shit. Like I just don't get how people want to move on from what they did the last 2 years.
I mean, in fairness, I don't think the people that were really harmed by the lockdowns want to move on. I think that they do want, you know, recompense. They want reparations, if you will. But you know, the media controls the narrative, and the media narrative is we're moving on. And here's the next thing. We got World War III to worry about. No, we got the Arizona election count to worry about. You know, it's just January 6th or whatever. Their narrative machine just constantly rolls on. And unfortunately, the average person, their attention span is tuned to that. So like that's what they do. And even I get sucked into it because I'm trying to keep up with the news that, you know, my audience wants to hear. So I may be covering things that feel as if I'm moving past the lockdowns and the egregious nature in which they treated us. And I'm certainly not moving past it. I mean, my whole life was uprooted. I fucking moved 3,000 miles away just to be able to have some semblance of freedom during that period. So I'm fucking furious, and I'll never let it go, and I'll never stop talking about it, and I'll never stop demanding that these people pay a price. And I hope that prison is that price. But at a minimum, these people need to be removed from power. And I think that was the main thing that I hated about the midterm fallout, was that so many of the people that were absolute tyrants, like, even though I don't live there and it doesn't impact me, I just wanted to see them punished. I just wanted to see them at least put out of power. And the fact that Newsom didn't even have to campaign anyone, and fucking Gretchen Whitmer won, and Kathy Hochul won. I mean, I've never been more pro secession than I am now. Like, we have to separate from these people. Like, there is no reforming. There is no meeting of the minds to be had. Like, these people are dangerous, tyrant-loving lunatics, and we need to be a separate nation from them at a minimum. I would obviously like to see more dismantling of the state than that even, but just as a starting point, don't make me be a countryman with someone who would vote for Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, or Kathy Hochul. I'm begging you.
Yeah, and
Amen.
don't let us be... Oh, go ahead, Hex.
No, I'm just saying amen. I completely agree.
Oh, amen. Oh, you're adding in the amen. No, yeah, and just like my whole thing too is so scary is all our fellow people who are like, yeah, discrimination's fine if the government tells you to do it. Like, you bring it up and they're like, and I keep getting this. I mean, it's so crazy now.
Jim Crow was awesome, right?
Yeah. And now people are saying, was anyone really forced to take it? Or no one was really, people are just playing that game. And I'm like, what? Like, it's so abusive and so, like, I just can't even wrap my mind around it. But
yeah, well, I saw your post about it when you were saying it's what abusers do. I think you're exactly right, and it's not just what abusers do, but it's also what victims of abuse do. It's Stockholm syndrome. It's basically falling in love with your captor, and I think that's what's happened to a lot of people. I think a lot of people are genuinely in love with their masters, and I am not one of them. I am a slave ready to fight back. That's really how I feel.
Switching gears kind of. So have you researched that stuff with the banker guy and the FTX stuff? Have you been looking
Yeah,
into
I was just
that?
about to ask about that too.
Yeah, I'm like, Clint will know all about it probably.
Yeah, I do. I just did an episode on it this morning, actually, so people can go check that out on Liberty Lockdown if they want. But yeah, go ahead and ask any questions. I got all your answers.
I don't know.
Say just start.
You're like, I don't even have a question.
No. Yeah, I followed it a little bit, but I think the best place to start would just be to give everyone a quick rundown about what happened. And if you want to go any further into any part of it, the floor is yours.
Okay. So FTX was the biggest exchange, or the third biggest exchange, excuse me. Probably behind Coinbase and like crypto.com. I don't know who the top two are, but it was the number 3. So it had billions under management, and it was started 3 years ago by this guy, Bankman-Fried, SBF. We'll refer to him as, just for shorthand, because I hate people with 3 names. He starts this basically it's a exchange fund, but then he also creates this hedge fund trading platform for cryptocurrency that is allegedly parallel to it, but not part of the same entity, because that's how our regulatory environment works. You always are supposed to keep your banking assets separate from your trading assets, and especially when you're trading, your own money. Well, turns out he wasn't trading his own money. He was, in fact, using the holdings of the users of FTX to not just trade, but actually borrow against that money, lever it up so that he had more money on top of that. So obviously, if it goes south, he's going to be bankrupt immediately. He then levered it up and did a bunch of speculative plays in the crypto space that ended up blowing up because we entered a bear market very broadly across the entire crypto space. So that's the brass tacks. That's the bare minimum explanation as to what transpired. It gets way more interesting because his mom started basically a PAC for Democrat candidates. She is a longtime Democrat operative. So is his father. So is his sister. So is his girlfriend, who's also in some love triangle thing with a bunch of people. They're all doing meth in the fucking Bahamas and banging each other and robbing their clients. It's all so fucking crazy, man. So yeah, it's a wild story. My conspiracy mind jumps to, okay, why did this, at the time, 28-year-old kid get entrusted with billions of dollars? Who was the seed capital to get him started? I think that's a very important question, because if we can connect a dot from that seed capital that made him appear to be legitimate, and say the CIA, the central banks, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be like one dot. They would use a shell company or something to make it happen. But it could very well be. Well, we phoned up BlackRock and we said, hey, fund this kid. He's actually an op. He's actually trying to grow this company so that he can then money launder into Democrat candidates, because he was the second biggest campaign contributor behind George Soros in the most recent election. He also gave $5 million to Joe Biden's campaign in 2019, 10% for the big guy type shit, right? Did they do that? Did they run this as an op from Jump Street in order to have it eventually blow up so that they can then turn around and regulate the crypto market more broadly? These are all questions that people should be asking.
It's so crazy. I was just laughing because he was like Fortune had him as like the top person, along with
they said is he the next Warren Buffett on the cover of Fortune magazine? Motherfuckers.
And they had also put that one girl, the blood testing girl. What's her name? Elizabeth.
Oh,
yeah, Elizabeth Holmes.
They called her the female Steve Jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same thing with her. She was so connected and got all this money. And it was like, what the hell is going on? And then you have Fortune saying these are cool people, but then they're actually fucking not.
Yeah. Like, you had Jim Cramer just a couple months ago was calling SBF the next JP Morgan. I mean, these people are so fucking stupid or paid off or something. I don't know what it is, but anytime you see, like, the first time I started to see Bitcoin on the cover of magazines, I was like, sell that shit. Like that's the number one sign of a top, is when some new asset class starts to get major publicity. You know that the end is near in terms of like that bull cycle, and it's like clockwork. It's the best tell. Anytime Jim Cramer, espouses your brilliance, yeah, you're probably a fucking fraud, because Jim Cramer is either the biggest fucking moron that's ever walked the face of the earth, or he actually is a paid op. I don't know which.
Yeah, how is he even still, like, how are people even still? I remember when he was stirring shit up during 2008 and like was completely fucking wrong about everything.
Yeah,
and
Bear Stearns is solvent. He said it proudly. Within days, it was bankrupt. This guy's fucking horrific. And he's lost his viewers. God knows how much money. I mean, it's astronomical sums of money. There's actually a reverse Jim Cramer ETF where you can automatically purchase the puts against every stock that he recommends, and it is up like 13% this year. Like, you can just bet against whatever Jim Cramer recommends and you will make money. He's that fucking bad at his job.
Oh my God. How do people fail up like that? Like,
well, that's the question, is he failing or is he doing his job?
Right.
That's really the question. And I don't know the answer. I mean, time will tell. But check this out. This is even wilder. So the money that we were all robbed, we weren't really robbed. It was printed and then just shipped over to Ukraine for the war to defend democracy, right? The Ukrainian government took our fucking taxpayer dollars and they invested in FTX. They took our money.
I was just about to ask about that.
They put it into FTX. FTX then took that money, put it into Democrat campaigns. Pure fucking blatant money laundering operation. Our taxpayer money sent to Ukraine, to FTX, back to Democrat candidates. Put everybody in prison. Everybody goes to jail, motherfuckers. I am so sick of this fucking country functioning like this, and no one seems to care. Like, we just sit around and we go like, well, that's pretty fucked up. All right, next hot topic of corruption and greed that we're not going to do anything about. The entire framework of this nation, like the entire process by which you punish fucking evil people, is so broken. And I don't know how you fix it, because who do you turn to fix it? You turn to the fucking people that are supposed to put people in prison. Oh, well, they're corrupt. Okay, well, then you have no options. Oh, what about the FBI? Oh, the FBI is even more corrupt than the fucking cops. So we have no recourse. We have no ability to remedy this. I don't know what the fuck you do, like, other than revolution. And I don't want a revolution. I'm not saying I do, but like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, what else do you do?
Yeah, because even if supposedly if Trump is outside of everything, he didn't fix anything. He didn't drain the swamps. He didn't fix the FBI.
He's the one who brought on Fauci out, after all. So
yeah, and also the head of the FBI. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. So
like, if we can't even trust those kind of people, well, now he's being crazy anyways, which is, it's hilarious, but you know,
it's all very fucked up. Who was I supposed to shout out?
Oh, Adam and
Alice Forkey. I see Alice in the chat right now.
Adam and Alice, shout out. Clint from Liberty Lockdown says, you guys are great or something. I don't know. Hi.
There you go.
They're in the FMU. They're in the Forest Mommy universe. My peeps.
Oh, nice.
What else was I going to say about that? Money laundering. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do, because and then they also have all the like lefties and commie people hating rich people, but they turn them against like, you know, more free market rich people instead of these motherfuckers who are wondering like doing it through the government and all the government power, but they're like they won't even like look into that. They only hate, you know, small business owners.
Here's the issue though. You have half of this country that wishes we were further enslaved than we already are. And you have another third of this country that ultimately thinks that it's still able to be remedied if we just get the right Republicans in there. That ain't fucking happening. So you're left with what? An eighth of this country that like really values liberty. But then from that fraction, you're left with maybe 1/10 of those people that would actually fight for it. So you don't have a fucking chance. Like if there was a revolution to happen, you're so fucking outnumbered. It would ultimately end up in like an even worse situation. You would have just death on the streets and destruction, but then you would also have a government that's reformed that establishes the principles of the majority in this nation. And the majority of this nation wants fucking to be abused and walked over. So this is why I constantly contemplate just fleeing entirely, because I don't see how there's any possibility for either peaceful or violent reform that gets me closer to fucking liberty in my lifetime. Like, and I know that sounds really dark, but I'm just being straight up with you guys. Like, how does it come to pass? Like, I think the only answer, and this is why I'm such a big advocate of the Free State Project, is peaceful secession. You guys continue to be crazy. You let us the fuck go. And I mean, odds of that being peaceful are very slim, but I think it's like the only chance we got.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy because I was just talking, like they literally admit they have secret cabals and they're so ahead of us on all this shit, on all like for everything, and everything's corrupt. The voting's corrupt. Everything is just, Colorado's great. Like I just can't even believe what's going on out here, and like the things people have said to me over the last 2 years. It's like, how do you remedy that? How do you?
You tell me.
I'm trying to be like, I'm more obviously like,
I guess it's as good as mine.
Yeah, I don't want to climb like the political ladder or anything. Obviously, I'm more of a culture person. Like, you know, that's my whole gig. And like, but people are just too stupid. Like,
you should do your stream naked, and I think that would get more people to watch. And then you just like you red pill the fuck out of them, and then boom, 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 liberty.
That's what I was doing on Twitter to some extent. Then they took my
chats.
They like I was so mad about Twitter, but I think Twitter is because I'm a very normal, unconnected person out here in Colorado. You know, COVID started, I started yelling on Twitter, and I got a following, and I'm a very normal fucking person. I think that's why Twitter had to get rid of me, because they can't have like normal people, you know, spreading message.
Hilarious that you think yourself to be normal.
Well, you know what I mean. Like I'm
You're
just like
a radical libertarian who also has a very open lifestyle. So that's normal.
But
you think you're normal?
Well, I'm normal as far as like I was tough, like because people were calling me. I don't know. It's just like I can live my life in one way and say things other way. Like I've said this before. I'm like, yeah, but if I had kids, I think a mom and a dad is best when you have kids. You know, like you can hold two ideas in your head. Like I live, obviously.
Yeah, I think I'm normal too, Forest Mommy, but they have me on a terrorist watch list. So what the fuck am I doing?
Domestic terrorist gang, what up?
Yeah, it's just
Paul's like, take your clothes off, $2.
Send super chats and you'll get more Sparkler videos. Chat.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe that's what I need to be doing. I don't know, but no, it's just sad. It's sad because I felt like I was a good example of like how to be free, how to be responsible, how to not like tell other people how to live, how to, you know, and people don't like that. They want to be abused. People want to be abused. Like,
yeah,
even liberty people.
I didn't think so, but I do now.
Yeah. Frustrating. So, do you have any big projects you're working on, or just working on your shows?
No, I don't have any big projects. I just started a Substack, and I'm writing a little bit longer pieces over there for people when I'm like doing something that's too in depth for the podcast, but also too long form for tweeting. Then that's where I go with that. And I already got like 300 subscribers in the first 48 hours it was up, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had a thread that went insanely viral, had over 1 million impressions in the first 24 hours, which is fucking crazy. And I was just pretending to be a I don't even know, like a liberal elite because I had just got my blue check. And I have never been retweeted by more people in my life. Like it was like Molly Hemingway and fucking whole bunch of people that are like really high profile, like million follower accounts were retweeting it saying like, this is the most brilliant writing I've ever read in my life. And I was like, I did that in 15 minutes while I was laying on my couch. That's so cool.
You know? and you were like, it was a parody? Like you were just parodying them kind of? Or?
Yeah. You want me to read it? It's pretty short.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And
Let's read it.
It's very funny. Since you're not on Twitter anymore, you'll get a kick out of this. So I said, I've been a blue check for 48 hours. What I discovered is disturbing. A thread. I go, number 1, I no longer view the unchecked as human beings. 2, when I tweet something objectively moronic and get ratioed into oblivion, I feel compelled to send a follow-up tweet stating, muted this thread. Looks like Putin's bots found it. I also want them deplatformed and to lose all sources of gainful employment. Why should I suffer the injustices of being derisively referred to as blue check or cuck and they not have their lives ruined? I view my fellow Czechs as peers, part of an oligarchical tapestry, one which I had reviled in my prior unwashed state. 4, now that I have been rightly elevated into my princely status, I want no further entry into the upper chamber. I have breached the gates. No more shall pass. 5, be it not for my elevated financial capacity, the not insignificant sum of $8 per month, I would have never known how wretched I was just 3 days prior. I've begun seeing a therapist to work on forgiving myself for what I once was. It will take time, no doubt. 6, I now believe it proper to dutifully repeat whatever Corinne Jean-Pierre states at her daily press briefings. I see no reason to critique nor use the critical thinking portions of my brain. Life is good. Why jeopardize it? 7, my biggest quandary is that Elon Musk saw fit to elevate my status via financial subscription, but now the media informs me I must hate him. I am yet to work through exactly how I can balance these allegiances. If Twitter fails, then the entirety of my self-worth is lost. Awful. 8, I believe that taxes are no longer theft and would prefer they be raised, but only upon the unchecked. At some point, the vassals which read my brilliance will no doubt agree they should be covering my $8 scootage. Look it up, losers. God, you make me sick. Scootage, by the way, is what a knight would pay to avoid military service. 9, risking World War III is no longer of concern, for my knighthood came, with my knighthood came the entry passkey to black site fallout shelters. I care not for those left in the cold. May the mushroom cloud warm ye. Who's the cuck now? 10, and final. For the first time, I can understand Joe Biden's appeal. He's doing great, and to say otherwise, I find treasonous. Also, John Fetterman speaks better than Obama. You wouldn't understand. Your ears aren't tuned to the proper frequency.
And they were retweeting it? Like the leftists were retweeting it?
Oh, no. It was mainly conservatives that retweeted, but I got 2,700 retweets, 13,500 likes, 1.5 million impressions. Crazy.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
That is insane.
So
I love powerful. Twitter. I know that's what it's funny because like the less people use Twitter apparently than other ones, but Twitter is the most powerful. I feel like that's where the spells.
I'm telling you, the viral nature of Twitter makes it so powerful. I mean, I think TikTok is actually even more powerful, but in terms of like conveying what I want to convey, there's no better medium than Twitter, and that's why I'm really hoping that Elon is successful in liberating our speech capacity. But looks like they could go. I mean, there is a complete financial war against him right now too. Like all the sponsors have pulled out. He's got no ad revenue left, and basically he's going to have to rely on all of us paying $8 a month to try and buoy all the losses that he's taking, because he just floated the idea of reducing censorship, and they're like, oh, ESG companies, pull your ads, and they did. So
yep.
That's true. And yeah, Paul was filling me in on the Eli Lilly stuff with like, I'm like, if that's how powerful Twitter is, if someone could like crash a freaking stock, like
they just said insulin is free now and the stock fucking lost billions of dollars. It's crazy, man. But the world is just so, I mean, there's so much instability, like broadly across all aspects of society, like economically and culturally and social media-ly. I mean, it's all so fucking like just right on the knife's edge. Like it just feels like it could all just explode at any minute. I hate to come on a do a guest spot and like sound so black-pilled, because ultimately like I'm not super pessimistic about the long-term prospects for humanity, but like the next year I am so nervous about. I can't help but bring it up every time I talk to people.
No, you can definitely talk that here. We're the same. That's what I'm saying too. Like the next, just with the people who want to act like they didn't do fucking crimes against humanity over COVID just want to move along. I'm like, it's going to be a weird year because you don't understand like what you did, and
well, I think that's another reason that they would greatly prefer we end up in some sort of significant war. I don't know if they really want World War III, but you end up in a fucking hot war with Russia. That's World War III right there. So
pretty much.
But it would be a
thermonuclear edition.
Yeah, exactly. But it would be a tremendous distraction if we're lucky enough to survive it, which I'm not at all certain we would. But yeah, I don't think they want people to really have time to process what the torture that they were just put through for no fucking reason at all. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what my thing too. Because I'm gonna basically be like a state organizer for the MC out here now, and like just getting more involved. And I'm like, I don't know, like obviously being online is what spreads stuff, but then I'm like, maybe we need to make our own secret cabals offline, especially in Colorado, because I really do want to save Colorado. And like I have so many people, I know there's so many people who aren't like on Liberty Spaces online and stuff like that did not agree with what happened and are like Colorado used to be very liberty minded, not I mean obviously more right, but and it's crazy now, but it's like we need to reach the people who aren't perpetually online, and
of course.
I don't know how you fucking do that though. Like
yeah, well, I mean the majority of young people are perennially online, so like I think that's an important part of the fight because the next generation, like we need to get them somehow. We need to indoctrinate them into valuing liberty somehow. And that's why I'm more in alignment with like the Eric July mentality of going through, pop culture and things like that, which, I don't really have a gift for, but those that do, I'm like, please fucking go do it. Whether it be kids programming with TV shows or comic books or music or movies or whatever, man, we have to reach the next generation. Otherwise we're totally fucking doomed because as of now, based off of what I've seen, I was on Twitch a couple weeks ago and this guy was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm like the only libertarian on here. He's like, and I'm not even saying like there's other conservatives. He's like, everyone on here is either like a straight up Marxist or a socialist. That's everyone on Twitch. And I'm like, holy shit. Much. I'm like, holy shit. So all these kids that are playing video games and like listening to these dudes are just being programmed. Like it's very, very disturbing.
Yeah. Did you see how, I think it was Delaware LP. They sent, so there was like a library or whatever that does the drag queen story hour. So they're like, hey, can we do a story hour with some, I think Tuttle Twin books or something, with the more, and they were like, no. They wouldn't let them. So it's like, that's obvious, like what they're doing. If you won't let other people tell their books, but you'll let the drag queens come in, it's obvious what they do,
Right.
Bizarre. Everything's so weird. And I just want to be free and have fun, but now I got to be fucking involved and like have to read shit and know shit. Yeah. Freaking hate it.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I was like, preparing for fucking retirement, like I was supposed to be just like golfing and chilling, and no, that's not the case. Or fatherhood is really what I wanted to do in retirement. I was like hoping for that, but didn't work out with my girl, so now I'm back at square one with that too. So it's man, a lot of rebuilding. Yeah, a lot of rebuilding.
Right, sorry about that. There's still time. There's still time.
I don't know. I'm pretty old.
I'm 50. Remember? Do you remember that? That was so long ago, and I love. That's why I liked you guys in the Target. Y'all like, I'm sure you're like half of them hate my lifestyle, but y'all are always nice to me and like get it. So I loved it.
Yeah, I'm the most understanding of the crew. They all mask their hatred of everybody, but with pretty good jokes. And I'm just like, I just drag everybody because it's funny, but I don't actually like really hate anybody unless they hate me, in which case I hate you.
Yeah, because why would they hate you?
Exactly. That's how I feel too. I am genuinely nice, especially like with people. You could ask. There's people online that were like suicidal that were reaching out to me, and I was fucking giving them my personal phone number. Like I have gone out of my way to be like really, really supportive in this community, and I have received a lot of hate for it, and it's just fucking perplexing to me because I'm like, I don't know what I've done to any of you. I have done nothing to any of you. And yet there's like 10% of this community that just thinks I'm like the fucking worst thing that's ever happened. It's so strange.
It is. Yeah. And then like with all the COVID stuff too, like when they pushed nice people like us that far,
right?
That like you they've unleashed something because I've just been like,
I'm pretty chill, but man, you fucking tell me that I have to stay at my house for a year plus. I'm like, oh, war? You want war?
So it's war you want.
So it's war you want.
Yeah, telling me how to be healthy, like a bunch of fat people telling me how to be healthy. And I never, I've always been super fit, super hot.
Yeah, you seen Forrest Mommy's body, bitches? She doesn't have to stay in the house.
I know, that's and I never ever told people, I was never a person like, oh, you should work out. I've never told people that. I never was that kind of person. You know what I mean? And then all these people were coming at me. And then when I was giving suggestions on how to be healthy, they're like, it doesn't matter. You could still kill your it's just I couldn't deal with it anymore. I had friends who during the initial lockdown were texting me. They're all out on FetLife and doing shit, which they should. I think they should have. But then a month later, they were totally indoctrinated and well, everyone should have listened and then we wouldn't have to be doing that. And I'm like, you were the fuckers who were out. You were telling me you were it was just so frustrating. It's still frustrating.
Yeah, it's social contagion, man. They were, through social pressure, everyone but the most independently minded people fucking absolutely caved. Even people that I thought were fairly free thinking, the vast majority of them caved too. It's a really, it absolutely changed my perspective on everyone around me. I had always assumed that there was kind of a linear through point that still at the end of the day, even though we accept taxes and we accept endless war and we accept all this fucking insanity, that we still value being able to do what we want with our own lives. No, not a lot of people actually truly value that. And that is fucking horrifying.
It is. It's almost it's good we got to see that part of people, but then also horrifying. And
it's like I'm glad to know that y'all are fucking some Nazi guard camps, but whoa, there's a lot of you. There's a hell of a lot of you.
Yeah, shit goes off. I know who I'm not talking to.
Yeah,
or teaming up with.
Almost none of you motherfuckers. It's crazy.
That was so crazy. But the silver lining, it did bring a lot of all of us together, and we're all so cool. I feel like everyone I've met through Twitter and stuff and getting involved out here at the MC and the LP out here, everyone is so cool. Yeah, and I don't know that I would have necessarily gotten as involved unless this had happened, so I don't know. Silver lining. And it is fun. I've gone to some other LP conventions. It's just fun to go around and visit these people and get to know these people, and
it's awesome. Let me spend 10 seconds just to express how awesome my life has become because of it. I mean, I've got to meet thousands of people that share my belief system that I did not know existed prior. So, and not to mention I have, over 10,000 people that listen or watch every episode of my show. That's fucking crazy to me. These are things that I couldn't have imagined. I couldn't have imagined any of this. And I've some of my best friends now are through this scene. And obviously I'm now making a decent, significant living from doing what I'm doing. And I get paid to travel all over the country and do what I love and talk about freedom. There's a lot of silver linings for someone like me who was really, pushed as hard as possible during this period. But I just wish it didn't have to come from all of the horrific things that are happening, civilizationally. We're going to pay a huge price. We already are. We're already in a terrible bear market. We're already dealing with significant inflation, all things that I warned about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I just wish that didn't have to happen. I just wish that people could have fucking heard me in May of 2020 and been like, okay, we're done. We're not doing this. We don't need this. We don't need Clint to be proven right. We're just going to stop now. And that didn't happen. So now we're going to fucking suffer terribly.
And people still are stupid. Robbie was on a thing on election night. I don't know if you saw that. And they right away, me and Paul Tort, we watched it the other day because Robbie was obviously the only smart person on this panel, right? And right away he said something and they just started attacking him. And the girl's was anyone forced to do that? And then later on, and then the conversation just was going off the rails. Robbie held it. Robbie kept his cool. But at one point they're I don't care about inflation. I just care about the prices of things. And it's how are you?
What do you think is causing that, genius?
That's the same shit that Pelosi said. She fucking said that last week. Unbelievable.
I mean, these are college educated people too.
Oh yeah, that doesn't mean a fucking thing. The more college education you have, the stupider you get.
The dumber you are.
Yeah. But I mean, just ask these people if they say, "Oh, no one was forced to." Okay, well, if your boss were to say, "Suck my dick or you're fired," would you feel as if you're being forced in that decision? Would you feel like maybe he should go to prison for that? Oh, yeah, probably, right? Okay, well, what if he says you have to put this fucking injection in your body or you're fired? Is that not force? Is that not coercion? Come on, like, how? How did we go through the Me Too movement 2 years ago and now everyone's like, rape's cool? Fucking crazy.
Or like right after they're trying to force people to take it, then the abortion thing comes up, which abortion is just the word abortion and MAGA. There's like these words that are so controlling of people, like so. And then they're bringing up abortion right after they were just firing people for not getting a shot about it's how.
By the tens of thousands. As if it never even happened now. It's crazy. I mean, this is why I'm really concerned about someone doing something really radical. Like there's people that have lost, everything because of what they did to people over the past 2 years. Like anything's possible.
I've had some crazy moments because I'm like, I don't have like I've had some crazy thoughts too, where I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like.
And this is coming from someone who put a sparkler in their ass and videoed it and put it online. Yeah. You've had some crazy thoughts. Crazier
I've
than
had
that.
some very crazy. I mean, if I could do that and it doesn't negatively impact my life, it's like, what can I like? I don't have kids.
I can get away with anything.
Well, just like, but it does feel like sometimes, like, because I don't have kids and all this, like, maybe you feel like, I know you want kids and stuff, but it's like, it feels like you have to like be radical. You have to, especially if there's not going to negatively, you have to worry about paying for your family and stuff like that. Obviously my life's really good, so it's like I have to be out here saying this shit.
That's how I feel too. Yeah, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. And I don't want to live in a country like this. If this is the direction of things and it just continues to get worse and worse, I'm the fuck out of here, man. Like I'm not going to fucking be here during the Holodomor of America edition. Like, no thank you. I don't have any interest in suffering like that, and I have the financial resources to flee, so I will. But the reason I'm fighting so hard is because I value this country, and more importantly, I value the people here. I think that they're a very unique breed. They're one of the few populations that still has millions of people that deeply value liberty. Now, it's not enough. Obviously, it's nowhere near 51%, but there are still tens of millions that really do value liberty, and I feel terrible to just abandon them.
Yeah, especially when you're like, we can't vote our way out of it. And like, even if voting did work, no one's voting. Like, no one, like, so many people don't vote, right? And
well, especially the fucking anarchists that don't vote. I'm like, look, just fucking do it, okay? Just cast your vote for a libertarian candidate. They're not going to win anyways, so it's basically like you didn't vote anyways. Why the fuck would you not just signal like, hey, like, come on. It's so strange to me. And they're like, no, because if you vote, then you're acknowledging their power and da 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 da. It's like, okay, sure. Or 98% of us don't vote and then 2% rule over us. Fucking hooray. You really proved your point. It's fucking weird. I don't understand the logic or the rationale at all.
Yeah, and then like they're still living within the confines of our rules and laws just as much as anybody else, but they act like they're like kind of like
they still have the military, they still have the police, they still have the drones, they still have the ATF and the FBI and the CIA, and they can still fuck your life up from here to the end of the earth. So maybe just cast a fucking vote for a libertarian. Just so we can like know how many of us there are. Just do it for me, okay? Just do it for me. We're not going to win, so your vote's still not endorsing anything that they're going to do to us. Just do it for me.
Yeah. Oh. Do it for Clint.
Thanks.
Because no one else pays it. I was actually surprised they let Shane Hazel on the debate stage. Because out here, they're like the awesome. 9 News. Yeah. And he did an amazing job. But out here, like our fucking commie news station, like they didn't even acknowledge that well, it's funny. They don't acknowledge that libertarians exist. But then afterwards, we have one guy out here who ran and he's somehow a socialist libertarian.
Oh, fuck.
Whatever. But of course, the news highlighted him because he did actually get a lot of votes.
Yeah, don't vote for him. I take it back.
No, he's not minded. But like then, of course, that's who the news wanted to talk about. That libertarian, not like the rest of us. So. Yep.
No, the left-leaning libertarians are great, from their perspective. So, yeah, that's what bummed me out about Chase Oliver doing, as well as he did, or well enough to create a runoff in Georgia. I was like, fuck, man, now it looks like that's really what the libertarian movement's all about, because that's going to be the only libertarian in that election cycle that a lot of people even hear of or hear from or hear about. And I'm like, he doesn't fucking represent, really what I want to see in the world, at least from what I've heard from him rhetorically.
Someone in chat just said the LP Senate nominee in Missouri got 2%. That is a big fucking deal.
Yeah, I think that's what Oliver got as well.
Yeah, that's what. So now our next thing, because we had some that were running for the like Senate and stuff. Where now we're like, we got one guy on a mayor out here in a little town. So it's like the next time we're just secret caballing it and making it local. Like fuck the big stuff for right now too. But
I think that's certainly the focus in terms of our capital. I think that the only thing that matters beyond that is the presidential run, because you do get some serious press out of that, and if you have a messenger that's super high quality, that can really change shit. But check this out. So Chase Oliver is like, you're kind of left-leaning libertarian, but because he caused the runoff, you now have people on the left, because it was Warnock versus
Walker.
Yeah, Herschel Walker. 2 black guys. So you have people on the left that are putting up pictures of the 2 black guys going, oh, I wonder why Chase Oliver got 2%. So I'm like, this hardcore left libertarian is now being accused of like only receiving votes because people are racist. I'm like, this is so fucking brilliant. Like, no matter what you do, if you're a libertarian, you're going to be accused of being a racist. How you like that, Chase? Maybe you should stop with the whole actively anti-racist spiel now, huh?
Yeah. And he's like calling, I made a post on my Truth Social, which whatever, Truth Social shucks, but it's like, because they're all like, oh, because of the whole Masters thing, now Dave is like a MAGA Republican. And I'm like, okay, calling him a MAGA Republican for that is the same as me calling you an anti-Semite for not supporting Dave. Like, that's how stupid these people are. It's just like, MAGA is such a, I'm like, that post from the Colorado LP yesterday. Oh, the funny thing is we were calling out Amash, but then they said Amash debate Dave Smith, and people are so triggered by Dave Smith. They are so triggered. They hate him more than they like Liberty, it feels like,
Damn.
So it's like,
this is just Colorado you're talking?
Yeah, well, on the Colorado LP account, it got, you can look at it later if you want, but like people were like, this is stupid, you guys are dumb, like all this stuff, because they were like,
I think I have all those people blocked, so I wouldn't even see it.
Yeah, probably. We were laughing because it was like, if we had just left Dave Smith out of that post, would people have been so triggered to like say what they did? It just,
the answer is no. They wouldn't have been.
No.
Well, I mean, there's similar triggering that happens with everything Amash says, and it's like I can still disagree with Amash and respect him. Like, he is the only congressman that's ever changed his status from Republican to Libertarian, or I guess it was Republican to Independent to Libertarian, while in Congress. Like, I have to appreciate that to some extent. I think he was dead wrong about the impeachment of Trump. I think he was dead wrong about a handful of other things. Still, he shares 80+% of my values. Like, am I going to make him an enemy that anytime he says anything, I fucking have to chime in and say, oh, I hate you so much? Like, that's how people are treating Dave. I don't understand why we can't see, the forest for the trees, or vice versa. I don't know. It just is very disappointing.
A lot of people who are hurt back when I even see they're like, oh, the MC is all frat boys and shit. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm sorry. I got bullied growing up too, but guess what? It doesn't make me like hate, like, grow up, like, stop fucking like.
I think you're exactly right. I think they carry a lot of trauma from their high school experience. Like, honest to God, that's my honest read of it.
Yeah. They were like sitting alone at the lunchroom, writing down who they didn't like and shit. It's like those
They're like,
kind of
Clint
people.
Russell, first to be shot in the schoolyard. As soon as I see him, piece of fucking garbage. He goes to all the house parties. That son of a bitch.
It's so silly. It is, and it is. I don't know. That's why I was so drawn during COVID to the MC and shit, because I just felt it's so funny how people hate him so much, and I'm like, they accept me, and I'm not fucking like far right conservative. You know what I mean? I mean, some of my ideas are and stuff, but I'm not like.
Right.
It's just weird how. Oh, and like the people call. I mean, Hex knows I've talked about this too a lot, but like literally, if you're in the MC, you're a fucking racist bigot. Like, and they like a white girl called me that to my face, and she's like, "Well, you're white." Well, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know. Get it.
I can't even.
Just never mind the fact that they've done work with Maj Toure, Eric July,
right?
Hotep Jesus.
Yes.
And all my friends, like, I know Hex isn't totally in it, but like Kenny, like I have such a big bubble of diverse people. So when someone calls me like a fucking racist bigot, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Look,
like,
what my perception of this is that there is a genuine Marxist cultural revolution that's happening in this country, and it has infiltrated libertarians as well. That's that's my honest read of it, and I think that they have been programmed to believe that not only is race tremendously important, but it's also maybe the most important thing. And that is completely counter to what I viewed as a very progressive stance when I was growing up, is that your skin color doesn't matter. I'm going to judge you based off of who you are as a person. That is now some sort of regressive, dog whistling, racist Nazi rhetoric. And I'm like, that's some fucking Martin Luther King shit. So I don't know what y'all are on, but like, I ain't fucking with it. And I'm not going to fucking defend myself from these accusations. I love everybody. That's it. We're moving on. If you fucking fight for liberty, you're in my camp. I fucking love Maj Touré, even though he's dead ass wrong on reparations. I still love him. Like, he's fucking
the PPP
fire
loan stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't even know, but I'm just saying, like, he is a fucking fire breather. When you give that dude a mic and you let him rip on liberty and guns and the hood and how black people should be the most libertarian people in the fucking world, I'm like, yo, this is a guy we need in our camp.
And he does the work. He actually does the work. Like, half the people who are throwing these accusations, they don't do shit. They don't do shit.
They don't do a damn thing. And I don't do much compared to fucking Maj. I mean, I'm not running some fucking gun camp to teach everybody how to use it. So he's doing more than me.
Right.
I don't get it. I just don't get no, it is. I was also going to say, when you're saying like the Marxist thing, because I remember right before I got off of Facebook, right when COVID started, and I was kind of in the anarchist libertarian space. And I remember seeing because I remember I was friends with that Brianna Coyle girl and stuff like then. And she wasn't crazy then, but I really think Facebook really radicalized a lot of people to be to care more about race and all this stupid shit.
Well, and gender too. Yeah, I mean, they're chopping their body parts off because they've been this is a cultural contagion that's happening, and it's broad. It's not just race; it's also gender too. And it's such an easy thing to explain. It's like, it used to be that the Marxist revolution was based off class. Now it's based off of sex or gender and race. It's like, it's such an easy fucking, you're just swapping out a word basically, and it's the same exact process. But people, for some reason, like, if I say it, a lot of people go, that's not fucking Marxism. That has nothing to do with class. I'm like, I can't reach you, man. Like, if you can't fucking make that very small logical leap to go, oh, it's the same exact protocol, but they're just swapping out class,
just changing words basically
for race.
Like you
it's
said,
same ideas, same divide and conquer, same nonsense, and it leads to fucking absolute disaster.
Yeah, the James Lindsay talks a lot about that too. He's really right on about that stuff.
Yes, he does, and that's why he's fucking gone from almost all social media.
Poor guy. Yeah, it's wild, and then it's like half of it is these like white suburban bitches, man. It's their fault.
White women must be stopped.
It's
that's
really
why I'm like, I want to try to get in with them, because I'm like, I look like when y'all like.
Yes, you do.
I live like them.
You could totally be a fucking yoga wine mom in Orange County.
Oh yeah. I mean, out here in Colorado, like, it's just same shit. Even the district I live in, they like vote for this stupid tranny who like literally made more laws the last time she was in. And then like we had Jacob running, we have all these like libertarian people, and it's like, it's weird because it's like these women are dependent on men, ones in those kind of lifestyles, but they like vote to make it so their man has to spend more money on taxes and all this stupid shit. Right. Like, they just don't. I just hate being so smart, man. It's just hard.
You're telling me
we fucked up when women got the right to vote. I'm joking.
Abolish the 19th, y'all.
Drives me nuts. Well, I don't got anything else you want to talk about?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I into an hour, so.
Nah, I get everything off my chest on Twitter and through my show and guest spots, so I'm pretty good. I don't know. I just hope that people wake the fuck up, like, now, and stop being distracted by the things that you're being told are the most important things. Like, there's nothing more important than stopping World War III, and then beyond that, there's nothing more important than, I don't know, stopping the cultural Marxist revolution that's completely uprooting our civilization. I think that those are the two things, and then obviously stopping the central banks.
Yeah, we have a question. Would you vote for Rand Paul over Dave Smith?
If Rand Paul could win, yes.
That's my whole thing. I'm like, I just want Dave Smith to run because he's a good messenger. He's like, he can get the message out at least and talk to people. At least people will hear it.
People will probably be surprised to hear me say that, but I'll tell you right now, I think if Dave Smith was running and he was polling at 3 or 4%, and Rand Paul was polling at 40%, and the Democrat was at 39, I think fucking Dave would cast his vote for Rand Paul. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Just being straight up with you guys. So yeah, of course I would.
Like, Dave's like, all right, and Dave. Go ahead.
No, he said one recent-ish episode of Part of the Problem is that if you're running as a libertarian, if you know you don't really have a chance of winning, the whole point of you running is to tell the truth about everything. And if there is a chance that you win, you just kind of do what you can to make sure you can win. Which,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not against that.
No, I think that's exactly what the argument was for Blake Masters, is that he was a closeted ANCAP, and that's why I think Ron Paul and Dave and a handful of others, endorsed him. I have no fucking clue, so I didn't cast an endorsement one way or the other. Not like it would have mattered, but I just don't know his heart, so I stayed on the sidelines on that one. But I think that there's a fair argument to be had. He certainly wrote in 2005. He wrote very anarcho-capitalist type shit. So he was one of us at one point. Whether he still is who the hell knows?
Debate, yeah, right.
Yeah, and Dave said also, like, if someone better will run, he will step aside. And I'm like, that's the humbleness that we need. Like, that makes me like that a lot better. Just as saying that.
Well, and for the record, like, I would rather see Thomas Massey than Rand Paul, but I don't think Thomas Massey has any shot of getting the nomination on the GOP side. So if it was Rand Paul, which I don't think it'll be him either, but if it were, of course I would vote for him. I mean,
right.
Yes. He would have a real shot at unwinding a tremendous amount of the shit that we're up against. So I'd be insane not to.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to plug anything?
Yeah, just go to Liberty Lockdown if you guys want to follow the show. It's on YouTube, fucking everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Odyssey, Rumble, Rockfin. Yeah, that's it. Liberty Lockdown. Clint Russell, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Hex, I don't know, plug.
My link tree is in the description. Shout out to producer Paul for that.
Trees. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope everyone has a great rest of your Sunday.
Hugs and kisses, Muff.